Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 272 of Rush Roundtable. This is our very last episode of, well, what we were calling R50, just a number of episodes surrounding the Rush 50 box set that came out, last month at this point. So go back and watch them through. But I guess you can technically watch them in any order, but if this is the first one you're seeing, go back and watch the remaining episodes. This one is all about we're basically rebuilding the box set. So we're just reimagining the box set. Each one of us have come up with 50 songs because, of course, the box set has 50 songs for 50 years. Each one of us has reimagined the box set however we see fit, and we're going to give our own criteria surrounding it. The box set itself has like half-ish live songs, half-ish studio songs. I think it's like 26 or 27 live songs, and the rest are studio songs. But and they all go in order of release. So keep that in mind. I don't know if that's how you guys did yours. That's how I did mine. But let's briefly introduce the panel. In the top left for me, we got Paul Simon. Got myself, Ryan. I'm going to be the host tonight. I did put together a box set as well. For the first time, not wearing a hat, you finally get to see his hair. He is not bald. Paul Cormier. All right. And then at the bottom, we got Eric Winter. So Ko-fi, check out our Ko-fi if you would. Check out Rush Lyrics on Instagram. You can check out our shop. You can get cool Rush fans merch, hats, t-shirts, stickers, mugs, everything else. You name it. And then our sponsors in the description as well. They help make some of these things possible. So without further ado, one other thing I will say, we're taking a couple-week break between this episode and the next recording of Rush Roundtable. The next Rush Roundtables will be Snakes and Arrows being resumed, though. So if you've been heavily invested in watching those, the Snakes and Arrows episodes will resume. Taking a couple-week break. We're going to try to get a Rye Guys quiz in there for the anniversary of Fly By Night, 50th anniversary of Fly By Night. We're trying. Schedules are just not lining up. But anyways, we're going to start with Paul. Paul Simon in the top left corner rather, and tell us what you got.
All right. And in celebration of Rush 50, I decided to lose 50 pounds, by the way. It is official. So, that being said, what I did was I decided that people want more live tracks. So, with a few exceptions, which I'll go through, I didn't change much in the beginning. I'm going straight down the list, LPs, LP one, side one. I'm not going to break it up, but that's where I'm starting. If you own this set or you're reading along, with the track listing, I kept a lot of the older material. All the reviews and unboxings I've seen, people wanted that stuff to remain. That seemed to be why a lot of people went for it, so I left it. So Not Fade Away, You Can't Fight It, Working Man the Vault Edition, Need Some Love Live, Before and After Live, Bad Boy Live, Garden Road Live, Anthem Live. Here's where things start changing. The first studio track is Fly By Night. I changed that to a live version, live from Massey Hall, June 25th, 1975. It is available via bootleg, YouTube, etc. So if we can get someone, tickets, or whoever to clean it up, I think it'll make a great addition. So these are all going to be either live or some form of rarity or vault. Next one, Bastille Day. I'm keeping the track, but it's going to be live at the Capitol Theater, December 10th, 1976, off of the R40 bonus. I want this on vinyl, so a lot of these choices I made were things I want on vinyl or things that aren't commercially available or both. Ignoring track length, 2112, I went with the full live different stages version. By Tour and the Snow Dog live, Something for Nothing live, much like the original set. Closer to the Heart is the next track. I went with the Vault Edition Canada for Asia 2005, also available on the R40 bonus discs. So I'm going to stop holding that up because that's going to slow us down. Xanadu live, drum solo live, The Trees Vault Edition. This is all the same as the regular box set. La Villa Strangiato live, In the Mood live, Next up, Spirit of Radio, live from Soundcheck 1979 at the Ivor Wynne Stadium, R40. It's available on that. Natural Science Live, I went with the Molson Amphitheater version, which is also available on R40. Passage to Bangkok Live, I left as is. Tom Sawyer, I went with the A Show of Hands version. Sentimental value for me. Limelight Live, Vital Signs Live, YYZ Live. Subdivisions, I went with the live version from the Palace of Auburn Hills Presto Tour 1990 show. Red Sector A, I wanted to go with the Grace Under Pressure live version. Figure Eric gave me that good idea. Thank you. Witch Hunt Live, and here's where things start switching up like crazy. So if you're keeping track, almost none of these stayed the same. For another song off of Grace Under Pressure, I went with Kid Gloves Live from September 27th, 1984, Largo, Maryland, at the Capitol Center. Release order is going to get a little goofy here, so bear with me. Marathon Live, I went with Time Machine. Lock and Key Live, I went with A Show of Hands. Show Don't Tell Live from the Auburn Hills Show Presto Tour in 1990. What a shock if you know me. Warpaint Live, Auburn Hills 1990. Dreamline, I went with the Different Stages version. I put Double Agent on here. I don't know what show. I think it's an Auburn Hills show, but maybe someone can let me know in the comments. That one's been circulating for a while. Test for Echo, I kept. Molson Amphitheater, R40 version. Animate from Molson Amphitheater, R40 version. One Little Victory, I kept the song, but rather than have the remix, I decided to go with the Hartford 2002 show. I figured that was one of the best emotional moments for Rush fans, so I wanted to use that. Between Sun and Moon Live, so these are all live. Between Sun and Moon Live, also Hartford 2002 show, that's out there. Virtuality, Molson Amphitheater, R40 Blu-ray disc. Nobody's Hero, Molson Amphitheater, almost done. Armor and Sword Live from Snakes and Arrows. Spindrift Live from Snakes and Arrows. Caravan, thank you Tim Derling of Tim's Vinyl Confessions, the single version. I want that on vinyl. Then BU2B, also the single version. So a little bit different mastering, I believe.
Those do
Headlong Flight.
exist, Paul. Do
What's
you
that?
know that? Those do exist.
Do they? Well, the single versions exist, but I'm saying I want it as part of this set and because I want it on vinyl.
Oh, yeah. Well, they exist as a front and back single 7-inch. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have it somewhere. Hold on. Well, go ahead. You keep
Break
going.
it
I'll
out. I'll
find it.
keep reading. All right. Headlong Flight I kept, but I'm using the Clockwork Angels live version. Then the last three, I only changed one. Losing It, I want the R40 version on there. And then I kept the last two songs as is, Jacob's Ladder live and What You're Doing, Working Man and Garden Road live. So all live or vault editions or previously hard to get, if not unavailable, versions after Ryan produces that vinyl that I'll be hunting for.
I don't think I'm going to be producing it because I don't know where it is,
Okay.
but I do own it. It's around.
Yeah, I'd want it as part of that set. So I changed some songs in the second half end on the back end of it around just because they're songs I like. Not saying this is better than what they released. I'm saying if I were to put it together, and obviously they didn't ask me because they wouldn't sell as many, these are the versions I would use.
Ryan probably uses the album as a coaster or something.
Yeah, I don't know where it is. It's tiny, so it's like somewhere buried. I don't know. It's like obviously, half the size of the rest of them. So it's probably made its way to like the back of the vinyls, and they're all stuffed in there. So I'm not gonna try to find it, but
Going almost all live though is pretty cool. I've been on like a little run of watching the YouTube videos that are called like 1 hour of the best live Rush performances. I don't know if you guys have seen those, but they just stitch together like, a song from Rio, and then after that it's a song from Time Machine, and then after that it's a song from Snakes. And it's just really fun watching them, just whatever song pops up out of order. And so, I'm imagining this box set as like just one long video of Rush live performances and how much fun that would be. That'd be really cool.
Thanks.
you'll have to link that to me. I'm not aware of that. Who put it
They're
out?
fun to watch. I don't know. But there's
There's
like
five.
seven or
I
eight of
found
them.
a series of five.
I think there's seven now because I think I just watched part seven.
Okay.
We should link it in the
Smart.
description.
Yeah, smart.
Shout out.
All right. So for mine, my thinking was kind of a mishmash of things, I guess. So I picked a lot of songs that I just like. It's like some of my favorites. I made this playlist for me, but I tried to throw some objectivity in there as well, as opposed to just subjectivity, right? So I tried to pick songs that I felt had to be on here, and then the songs that had to be on here, whether they were, well, I went through the entire catalog studio. I was like, okay, this song needs to be on here. For example, Spirit of Radio needs to be on a Rush 50 bucks set. But what's my favorite live performance of that? Okay, let me add that live performance of it. So whereas in the actual Rush 50 box set, a lot of the hit songs were studio versions. Tom Sawyer, Spirit of Radio, Closer to the Heart, I think. I flipped that and took, okay, a lot of the top songs, the radio hit songs, I picked what my favorite live version of that is, and then threw in a lot of my favorite deep cuts studio versions because I'm thinking to myself, well, all right, if you're a casual Rush fan and you're picking up this box set for the first time, you probably know Tom Sawyer or The Spirit of Radio or Limelight. You don't know the deep cuts. So let me give you the deep cuts as studio versions, and then let me give you the songs you know as live versions so you hear a different version of that, and then you go seek out the whole performance. So, um, and I understand why you did, Paul, why you kept the songs that you did, but I didn't do that. That didn't really matter to me. This is just so I started with Garden Road, um, live at the Agora Ballroom, the one that was actually on our Rush 50. Here again. Oh, and also, by the way, these are in order of release as well. So you're going to see a lot of my favorite live performances came later in their career for the later releases. So there's going to be a lot of R30, R40, Clockwork, Time Machine, all that. Um, so Garden Road live at Agora Ballroom. Here again, the studio version of it. In the End from Fly By Night, studio version. The Fountain of Lamneth, studio version. 2112 in full, studio version. Bastille Day and Anthem live from the All the World to Stage, live. A Pharaoh of the Kings studio version, Cygnus X1 Book 2 studio version, Entree New from Permanent Waves studio version, uh, The Camera Eye studio version, Xanadu live from Exit Stage Left, Tom Sawyer live from YYZ 1981 from the Moving Pictures 40. Digital Man and After Image, both studio versions. And I only went with material that actually exists. I didn't really pull from, actually, I did once, but I'll get to that. The Weapon and New World Man live from Grace Under Pressure, live. Grand Designs, Middletown Dreams, A Motion Detector, and Open Secrets, all studio versions. That's kind of my run of like, you know, favorite deep cuts right there in the mid 80s. And then Marathon and Mission live from A Show of Hands. Two fantastic. I mean, you can't go wrong with either one of them. Available Light studio version. War Paint live from the Presto tour that's on YouTube. That's the one that I pulled. Like, I kind of figured I'm doing this. I need to throw some unreleased material in there, right? So that was that. Bravado, Alien Shore, Double Agent, and Totem, all studio versions. Dreamline from different stages. Dreamline live from different stages. Something for Nothing live from different stages, which I believe was from back in the 70s, but it was the I
The
think.
Hammersmith Odeon show.
Yeah, am I wrong on that? Did they actually do Something for Nothing on different stages? I don't think they did. I think it was from the Hammersmith show. Anyways, Something for Nothing from different stages. Um, then I have the studio version of Secret Touch from the remixed version. of Vapor Trails. Then I have Driven and The Trees live from Rush and Rio, two versions that I really enjoy. The next four are from R30 live. I have Animate, Subdivisions, Between the Wheels, and Mystic Rhythms, all from R30. And I was not on last week's episode, so a lot of these are kind of a crossover. Like these are just my favorite live versions of songs that I thought fit on this too. So, um, next is from Snakes and Arrows live. I have. Oh, this is not. This is in the wrong order. Hold on. So, Armor and Sword from the studio version, and then Snakes and Arrows live, Limelight and Natural Science. Fantastic performances of those. And then yeah, this is way out of order. What the heck happened to my playlist? Okay, so then Time Machine Tour, The Spirit of Radio, Faithless, Caravan, La Villa Strangiato, and Working Man, all live from Time Machine. I think whether it's just the sound of those songs, the vibe of those songs, how Getty introduced them, whatever, I just felt like all those needed to be on here. Um, I have the Anarchist studio version from Clockwork Angels. And then from Clockwork Angels live, I have the Analog Kid and the Garden. And then from I'm going to round it out, R40. Take a guess.
How it is.
How it is from R40. Yep.
I had to cut it. I had it, but I had to cut it.
Yeah. So I don't know why this is all out of order. I don't think I put this out of order, but I specifically did it to where it's by release, right? So like the Analog Kid live from Clockwork Angels is not after all the Signal songs, it's actually after Clockwork Angels because that's how the box set is. So that's my list. What do you think? What did I miss?
I'm glad
All
you
the
picked.
others. That was
I'm
good.
glad, yeah, all the others. I'm glad you picked La Villa and Working Man from Time Machine because I think that might be among their best encores they ever did. So
Yep.
that's a great choice to have on there.
Yep. That was the thinking for sure.
Your studio cuts from Power Windows and Hold Your Fire were perfect. So, and actually from Counterparts too.
Well, yeah, of course. Yeah. Probably could have threw one of those like Double Agent or something in there live, but yeah, I mean, I actually ripped all the Presto songs from that performance, and I do everything old school. I don't stream. I own all my music, and I literally put it all onto my iPhone. So I did that for that show. So I have all them on my phone. So that's why I threw that one in there for Warpaint. But yeah, so bootlegs. Yep. Paul, what do you got?
I guess I went more traditional um, order of the songs that they came out in the studio side. I've got some of the songs from the original R50 box that came out, but I've only got about 10 live songs total. A lot of it's studio cuts. I just, not that I don't like the live versions, but to me, like the studio cuts are, what made them and what sold them to the crowd. But same thing as Paul, I kept the four pre-Rush songs, I guess you could call them. So Not Fade Away, You Can't Fight It, the two versions, the versions of Bad Boy and Garden Road from the Agora Ballroom. I think that's Neil's first recorded performance, isn't it? Because he joined the band a month before. So, but the quality is awesome. Yeah, because the quality is really good on it. I liked it. And then my logic went, being the nerd again, I put all the songs into a spreadsheet and I ran a pivot table, and it told me how many songs from each album. And of course, it's weighted heavily towards the early Rush, right? And I went, that's not fair. Because you would have asked me this 5 years ago, it would have been like, yeah, that's an awesome list. But being part of Rush fans, when I came in Signals, and I've learned to appreciate the 80s and the 90s into 2000s a lot more. So I went, that's not fair. I'm going to cut it down to 2 songs for each album. So we're talking 19 studio albums, because I'm not talking about feedback. To me, that's a waste of time and space. Fight me on it. But so 2 songs per album, so that's 38.
Oh, On this or in general?
On this.
Fine. Okay. Just
Because
wanted to
no,
clarify.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to misinterpret, but just for their, because I mean I'm looking at original studio
Yeah, sure. No,
albums,
that's absolutely fine.
but
I just wanted to make sure you weren't saying in
because
general.
because
Let the
because we
flame
know
war
because
begin.
because in the original box set they put in the Seeker, right? But
Yeah.
so I did 19 albums times two, that's 38. Then I added the 4 songs from the Fear trilogy, and then the 3 songs in the R50 with the drum solos included, because as a drummer, I love that they included the drum solos. And I also included the final song they played live in Los Angeles at the end. So if we're going in order, I've got the first 4 pre-Rush releases: Not Fade Away, You Can't Fight It, Bad Boy, and Garden Road. Then I go to Finding My Way, In the Mood from Rush, Anthem and By Tour from Fly By Night. I do Bastille Day and Lakeside Park from Caress. I do the full 2112 and the Passage to Bangkok. From A Pharaoh to Kings, I do Xanadu and Cygnus X1 Book 1. And I added the drum solo live from the Hammersmith Odeon. That was on the original R50. Then for Hemispheres, I did Circumstances, and I included the La Villa Strangiato from Pink Pop. To me, that's an awesome version to have on there. Permanent Waves, I put Jacob's Ladder, Natural Science. Moving to Moving Pictures, I included, you'll notice these are all in order of their release. So album order from the album, order from each album. Moving Pictures got YYZ, which includes the Forces song and the drum solo. I put in Limelight, The Camera Eye, and then I put The Witch Hunt, and I used the live version from the Maple Leaf Gardens show in September of '84, which is under the Grace Under Pressure tour. Signals, I did Subdivisions, Analog Kid, and The Weapon from the same show, from the Grace Under Pressure tour. And then for Grace, I did Distant Early Warning, After Image, and The Enemy Within. When I went to Power Windows, I got Territories and Middletown Dreams. Hold Your Fire, I've got Lock and Key and Turn the Page. Presto, Show Don't Tell, and Scars. Roll the Bones, I've got Dreamline and Ghost of a Chance. Animate and Double Agent from Counterparts. Into Test for Echo, I picked Driven and Time in Motion. Then I included that drum solo that was recorded at Tinley Park. And I think, Paul, you were there, weren't you, for that one? Yeah. For Vapor Trails, I include the One Little Victory remix from the R50 box set because that sounds phenomenal. It just blew me away. Peaceful Kingdom, and I included Freeze because it's part 4 of the trilogy. From Stakes and Arrows, I put Far Cry, which I was surprised wasn't on the original R50, but I digress. And I also picked Spindrift, Clockwork Angels, This Caravan, and Headlong Flight, and finish it off with that last song on R40 with What You're Doing, Working Man, and Garden Road. So if you've been paying attention,
Snakes and Arrows on R50.
What's that?
yes, Working Them Angels, and in a second,
Working Them Angels was on R50.
Yes.
Yep.
Live. Yeah.
And The Main Monkey Business.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have all my cross-offs.
There's a lot of songs that I didn't include purposely. This is my list, my favorite songs. There's no Tom Sawyer. There's no Spirit. There's no, like, these big Closer to the Heart's not there. Not that I don't like them, but I want, kind of like to Ryan's point, some deeper tracks maybe, like if you want to. But this is my list, right?
You made a lot of good choices, a lot of hard cuts. So I can tell you put the effort in.
It's hard to whittle it down to 50 songs at the end of the day.
Yes, it
right?
is.
Like it's from the whole discography. If you include the live versions of all the songs they've done, like it's insane.
Yeah.
But I love those original 4, like the pre-Rush, Not Fade Away, You Can't Fight It.
Exactly.
And they sound fantastic. Like the ones from Laura Secord Secondary School, like the quality is really like, ugh, it's iffy. So it's great to have them, but the recording's not fine. And what was the other song? Oh, is it Anthem they had live from New York on the R50?
Yes.
Yeah. At the end of the song, it's like there was like 5 people clapping. I was like, that's kind of odd. It just struck me, but that's my list.
Good list.
Yeah.
You know what we got to do is we got to do our 50 favorite Rush songs, just for the hell of it. Forget box sets or live or just
Live,
50 favorite
just
studio Rush cuts, period.
out of 160 odd songs, pick
In
50
Be
order.
another bloodbath.
In
Yeah.
order.
in
In
order.
order.
Well, in order of preference or in order of the albums?
No, in order of
Ooh.
preference. In order
Oh,
of
Oh,
wow.
that's
Oh,
okay. That's
wow.
impossible. That's impossible. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, that's the point. That's
Exactly.
exactly the
He likes
point.
those. You didn't pick up on that? He likes doing that to us.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm in.
That's true.
Why not?
Well, geez, that'll take some time to
Hey,
figure out.
I mean, hey, maybe we come back with another episode of Rush 50 and the four of us do this in a week or two. I don't know. It's just a thought, just to see
Re
how.
how it comes out.
That'd
Yeah.
be
Let us
tough.
know in the comments if that's something you're interested
Yes, please.
Hmm.
Because it's just
in.
favorites. I mean, like, did anybody care about our favorites? I don't know. We'll see. Let us know what you think, you know?
Yes, they all care
Right.
so much.
Ryan, you've always said music is subjective. So what's my favorite could be someone's most hated song, right? So
Oh, absolutely. But is it worth spending time putting together for our viewers? I don't know. I don't know if people are going to care, but I mean, okay,
50 is a
people
lot.
people tend to right. People tend to pick up on what our favorite songs are, but do they really care to listen and sit through what our top 50 favorite songs are? I don't
Yes.
know. Yes. Let us know in the comments what you think about this idea.
Like if they hadn't figured out that one of Ryan's favorite songs is How It Is, you haven't been
That
paying
might as well
attention.
be.
Yeah, right.
Or anything from Snakes and Arrows or Counterparts, right? Like
Yeah.
pay
Yeah.
attention.
Power windows or yeah. All right, Eric, go.
Okay,
How
so
much you want to bet the weapon from Grace Under Pressure's on this list?
Like I picked out.
Just
I
it's
didn't
not.
include the garden. That's
It's
got to
not.
shock somebody.
it's about minus 500 odds that the weapon is on
It's
here.
not.
What? You know he
I
did it
didn't
on
include
purpose,
the
right?
garden.
I just lost a lot of money then.
You did. You lost a lot of money. So I have to admit, I don't actually know what's on the real R50 box set. I saw, I saw,
Could do with what you last.
uh, I saw You Can't Fight It. I saw Not Fade Away. I've added those to my playlist. I saw the two Vault editions of Working Man and the Trees.
Hmm.
And that's about all. I don't know what else is on there. Um, but the Vault editions are very cool, so I'm gonna make a blanket statement. If there are any other Vault editions, those can supersede any song on my list and just replace them. I don't care. That would be really cool to have. So my thinking here was it's a lot of just my favorite songs, some deeper cuts, some, really popular, but mainly it's like if someone came to me and said, "Oh my gosh, I love Tom Sawyer. Please show me the rest of Rush." This is maybe what I would put together and say, "Okay, here's the rest of Rush." So mostly studio, a few live, but mostly studio. So I'm starting with Garden Road from Agora Ballroom, a fantastic recording of it. And then from the debut, I do Here Again and Working Man. For Fly By Night, I do Anthem and Beneath, Between, and Behind. For Caress of Steel, I do Lakeside Park, and then both the Necromancer and the Fountain of Lamneth just for fun.
Hmm.
They're gonna learn what Rush is, and that's one way to do it. For 2112, I'll do 2112 from All the World's a Stage, and then I'll also do A Passage to Bangkok. From A Farewell to Kings, I'll do the title track, Farewell to Kings, and then Xanadu from Exit Stage Left, which I think went 3 for 4 now, maybe, or 4 for 4, 3 for 4. It's been mentioned many times.
Hmm.
And then from Hemispheres, I'm going to go with Circumstances and La Via Strangiato, also from Pink Pop. I think that was a great choice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Permanent Waves, I would say Free Will, Jacob's Ladder, Natural Science, and Different Strings. I'm a big Permanent Waves guy, so had to squeeze almost all of them on there. For Moving Pictures, they've already heard Tom Sawyer, so I can skip that and say Red Barchetta and Limelight, as well as Witch Hunt from Grace Under Pressure Live. Just love the sound of that record. For Signals, I would say The Analog Kid and New World Man. From
Hmm.
Grace Under Pressure, I'm going with Red Sector A and Between the Wheels. I think Between the Wheels is among their best songs they ever wrote, so it has to be on there. Power Windows, I would say Grand Designs and Marathon. From Hold Your Fire, Force 10, Time Stand Still, and Mission from A Show of Hands, which was also mentioned, I think, 2 other times. For Presto, I would go with Chain Lightning, The Pass, and Presto off the Time Machine tour.
Mm.
For Roll the Bones, Bravado, and Where's My Thing. From
Mm.
Counterparts, Animate, Cut to the Chase, and Everyday Glory. From Test for Echo, I will go with the title track Test for Echo and Resist from Rio. For Vapor Trails, I'm going to go with Ghost Rider, Secret Touch also from Rio, and then How It Is. From Snakes and Arrows, Armor and Sword, Working Them Angels, and The Way the Wind Blows. And finally, off of Clockwork Angels, BU2B, The Wreckers, and of course, The Garden from the Clockwork Angels tour will be the last song on the box set.
Nice choices. I was nodding along with most, if not all of them.
Thank
Yeah.
you, Paul.
Yep, that was a good set list.
Thank you, Paul.
Both of yours are very easy to follow too, Paul and Eric.
Thank you, Ryan.
You're welcome, Eric. I felt
Mine sucked, but yours were fantastic.
No,
No,
but
I-
it shows a different variety. It's awesome.
Yeah, I just
Yeah,
think
it was
your
good.
guys. I feel like
Yeah.
Paul C and Eric's year approaches were similar and a little bit easier to follow, whereas Paul, Simon, and my approaches were similar, a little bit more difficult to follow, but all great. I mean, nonetheless, all great. So, yeah, I guess I'm curious, viewers, like what do you think we missed in our reimagined box sets? Are there any songs? I mean,
What
you know,
was missed on the original box set?
I was about to say that. What was missed on the original box set as well? What would you have put in place of? But what I was really going to add regarding ours, is you guys have seen the four of us on probably hundreds of roundtables at this point, or hundreds of videos on this channel. What do you think we would have included, or what do you think we missed based on what you see our preferences as on these videos, right? Like what do you think we probably would have had that we didn't have for whatever reason, you know?
Whose
and
set would you buy?
That's another one. That's another question.
Before you heard.
Whose box set do you like the most? Whose would you buy? Yep. Whose box set would you shell out $375 for? US. Paul, you look
Oh,
like
that's
you're gonna
not-
say
I was gonna say that's not fair. That's like $600 Canadian. What are you talking about? You're gonna
I was waiting for someone to say that.
Stay tuned.
Yeah. So yeah. And if you want to participate in the exercise as well, you know, throw your own 50 track reimagined Rush 50 box set in the comments, because with parentheses live and the location that it was, or the venue that it was performed at, or whatever, the tour that it was performed at, because that is kind of paramount in this whole thing as well. So, yeah, let us know what you thought of the episode. Let us know if you want us to reimagine other box sets as they come out. I don't know. I'm sure we'll eventually see a Grace Under Pressure box set. And yeah, stay tuned. Let us know in the comments if you want to see our 50 favorite Rush tracks, and we'll talk about them. That could be a long episode, but let us know if you want to see it. And stay tuned in the next couple weeks. Trying to get some quizzes out there for Rye Guys, in between, like, kind of our little sort of break. I mean, we always say we're going to have a break, and then we throw some episodes out there anyways. But
Tell me about it.
yeah, we're just full of ideas and shit, full of shit. Yeah, with that, first time you got to see Paul's hair, and
More of him, less of me.
there you go.
Take the focus away. Yeah, is that what it is?
There you go. All right, everybody, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Take care.